Let's get it! 580 Sports Talk is live and direct on a Victory Monday. How good does it feel to say that for the first time in 2025? We are back from the weekend. Your reward through making it through a Monday is 3 hours of sports talk here on the Sports Voice of Kansas. 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. However, wherever, whenever you're catching 580 Sports Talk today, thanks so much for being a part of the audience. We appreciate you being here for 580 Sports Talk. My name is Dan Lucero. Spencer Dupuy will be along in a bit. Brendan Dworzinski is off today. It is a Victory Monday. The Chiefs will not go 0-17. They were never going to go 0-17, but still, it's nice to not look up and see a zero. It's reassuring not to see a zero in that win column for the three-time defending AFC champions. 22-9, the final in a win over the New York Giants on Sunday Night Football last night. They're not going to send the game tape to Canton, Ohio in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's not going to live long in the memory as a great exhibition of the sport of American football. You might have even said the game was ugly, gross, like my son's dirty diaper diarrhea. If you were me, you said something to that effect after the first 30 minutes of football. But this is the Chiefs team that needed a win. They got a win. And I saw enough good things last night, even through some of the sloppiness, even through some of the hideousness, that makes me feel like this team is indeed making progress. Now, making progress is not necessarily a thing that you like to be saying about the three-time defending AFC champions with their backs against the wall, starting 0-2. But progress is progress. That's a better football team that walked off the field on Sunday night than it was last week against Philadelphia, than it was the week before that in Brazil. So we'll talk about what I liked, what I didn't about that Chiefs victory. We'll go through it throughout the program today. And, of course, we'll get your thoughts on that Chiefs game as well. You can text the program, 785-272-9429. That is 785-272-9429. You can also hop in the live chat on our YouTube channel. 580 Sports Talk is the name of that channel. Jump on into the live chat. Get your thoughts in, your comments, your questions, your reactions, or overreactions to that Chiefs win last night. We'll keep coming back to that throughout the show today. Also joining us to talk about that win and all of the rest of the Week 3 NFL happenings will be Matt Verderame, our NFL insider from Sports Illustrated. He joins us at the bottom of this 3 o'clock hour, as he does every Monday here on 580 Sports Talk. We'll get Matt's opinion on what we saw out of the Chiefs last night, as well as all the rest of the Week 3 happenings. I am going to ask him, and we'll see if I can get him to crack a little bit. If I can make Matt Verderame laugh, I feel like I've accomplished something. I'm going to ask him if his MVP through 3 weeks is Justin Herbert or Daniel Jones. And like, it's only 3 weeks, but like, if you're giving out a September MVP, it's one of those two guys. It really is. So we'll see if I can't get Matt to laugh at that a little bit. But we'll have a fun time talking football, as we always do with Matt Verderame, bottom of this hour. Lots of NFL to get to on the program today. We'll also talk some college football. I was at the booth on Saturday night. KU 41, West Virginia 10, a beatdown of a Mountaineer team that is only not clearly the worst team in the Big 12 because Oklahoma State is still a member of the Big 12 Conference. Although I think you should get your membership yanked if you lose to Tulsa. Rebuilding Tulsa. Yikes, Mike Gundy. Yikes. Anyhow, West Virginia is also extremely bad. And KU walked a mud hole in them, which is what you're supposed to do with bad teams. But it's what good teams are supposed to do with bad teams. And I think KU's good. And I think given their schedule, there is a very clear path for Kansas to play for a conference championship. It is not unrealistic to dream of Arlington if you are a Jayhawk fan. We'll get into that later on in the show today, as well as the rest of what was an important week in the Big 12. The big noon Saturday game was kind of a dud. It ended up being a runaway on the scoreboard. It was closer than that 24-point margin of victory for Texas Tech would have suggested for most of the day. Did Tech luck into finding their quarterback? Baron Morton going to get Wally pipped? He should. Also, Utah looking funny in the light. Plus, Arizona State, big win over Baylor. And good non-league wins for everybody else in the league, except, again, Oklahoma State, who, again, lost at home to Tulsa, something that had not happened since 1951. What were you doing in 1951? What were your parents doing in What were your grandparents doing in 1951? Anyway, that's the only blemish on what was an important week for the Big 12. We'll get into that later in the show today. And we'll get to some baseball as well. Royals' tragic number, the elimination number, the combination of Royals' losses or wins by, and as of today, it's either Cleveland or Houston that would eliminate the Royals from playoff contention, is 1. 1 is the loneliest number, and it is the elimination number for the Royals. Now, they can't get eliminated today because Cleveland and Houston don't play, and neither do the Royals, but it is all but over for the boys in blue, despite a good series win over a good Toronto team this weekend. We'll get into that a little bit as we wrap up on the show today. Plus, our typical Monday staples on the show. A lot going on in the sports world today. A lot of significant NFL injuries to tell you about. Some scheduling info from Big 12 basketball, as well as Big 12 football to get to. Major college basketball coaching news today. Headlines are chock full today. We'll also start a new week of What Is Wrong With You. We'll do good, bad, ugly from the weekend that was. And again, we want to hear from you. The text line is open, 785-272-9429, 785-272-9429. And on the text line, 785-272-9429, which I already said. I meant to say the YouTube chat. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. Good afternoon to Mark H. and Andrew and Vance. Great to see you guys checking in the live chat already. And we look forward to hearing from more of you as we go along through the day. Again, go subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't yet. 580 Sports Talk. We had live reaction videos from KU's win and from the Chiefs late last night if you stayed up for that one. So go check those out. Go watch the live stream on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. Chiefs 22, Giants 9. I have rarely, if ever, hated watching a first half of football more than I hated watching the first half of Chiefs Giants last night. It was a revolting display of football, really both ways. Nobody can be proud of anything that they did in the first 30 minutes. And it was difficult for me to watch, one, because it was further proof that something just ain't quite right with this Chiefs offense, but also the quarterback stinking it up for the other team is one of my all-time favorite football players. And I hate seeing Russell Wilson go out this sad, man. And it only got worse. It only got worse for my guy, Russ. That was difficult to watch. I hated those first 30 minutes of football. Sound like Roger Ebert. I hated this movie. I hated that first half of football. And the Chiefs were fortunate, thanks to a defensive pass interference. It was the right call. It was a nonsense penalty to take, but it was absolutely the right call. That's the only reason the Chiefs were leading at the break, 9-6. Then came the second half. And in the second half, Chiefs looked good on offense. 2 touchdown drives for the Chiefs helped them put the game pretty much on ice. There was one drive that ended in a field goal for the Giants, but they didn't get a whole lot else. And so while broadly it was not a pretty game, I thought that the signs of life we saw from the offense, and even some of the signs of life we saw in the first half, as the Chiefs drove repeatedly into field goal range before stalling out, were promising. I think the defense has continued to prove that week 1 and the disappointment of the performance against the Chargers in Brazil was the outlier. They have been pretty solid in the 2 games since. Not perfect by any means. Still need to generate more 4-man pressure, and Nick Bolton missed a few tackles that I wasn't wild about, but by and large, you hold an NFL team to 9 points, even one quarterback by this version of Russell Wilson, you can feel pretty good about the way that you defended. And in the end, the Chiefs win. And they win in a place they had never won in franchise history. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that because I'm sure they've beaten the Jets on the road, but they've never beaten the Giants in the Meadowlands or anywhere else that as a road team before in their history. So the Chiefs can check that box, and they go to 1-2. I'll start with the offense because, again, it was largely gross in the first half. They would get into scoring range and things would sputter out. It's really clear, though, that there is stuff that works for the Chiefs and there is stuff that doesn't work for the Chiefs right now. And they've just got to start phasing out the stuff that doesn't work. The stuff that doesn't work for the Chiefs, for the most part, shotgun running game is bad. When they run the ball out of the shotgun, the running backs don't hit the holes because they're not good enough or explosive enough or have good enough vision to hit the holes. The shotgun running game is bad for the Chiefs. Chiefs ran for over 100 yards, and you take out the kneel downs at the end of the game by Patrick Mahomes, they were actually over 4 yards per rush as a team last night. And that was without Mahomes really doing a whole lot in terms of scrambling. But shotgun run continues to be problematic for this Chiefs team. Isaiah Pacheco, I'm not sure can continue as running back one. I know that he had 40-some yards rushing last night. He went over 4 yards per carry. Hooray. They throw you a parade for that. Remains not really a threat in the receiving game. I'm still trying to figure out, along with the rest of the internet, what exactly he was trying to do when he had a block and release route and turned the wrong way and Patrick Mahomes threw the ball backwards, and only Mahomes deciding that he wasn't going to let the other team have the ball prevented the Giants from a scoop and score touchdown. Come back to that. What that showed me about Patrick Mahomes. Not the backward pass, but the fact that he just went and took the ball away from Bobby Okereke because he wanted it more. But it's not clicking for Pacheco right now. And the more that he's featured, you just don't feel really good about what he's doing. His vision is not there. The burst is not there. He is not the same guy he was 2 years ago. And I think the more reliable version of the Chiefs running game, particularly in short yardage, is going to feature Kareem Hunt. And if Kareem Hunt is your feature back, that's not ideal either. Chiefs are going to have to add somebody at that position. Or they're going to have to sprinkle in more Brashard Smith, about whom more in just a second. Or they're going to have to activate Elijah Mitchell. What are you keeping him around for? Just to watch the games from a good seat? Let him give it a shot. Even if he didn't show you much in the training camp in the preseason, you're not getting anything from Pacheco right now. The other stuff that doesn't work for the Chiefs, anything that assumes that Travis Kelce is the 20-something version of Travis Kelce. I don't know about you, but when I watch Travis Kelce, I think he's feeling 36. Like, the tight end screen they ran to him where he had to make a guy miss, he's not doing that anymore. Stop it. And, hey, Travis, maybe chill out on the sideline a little bit. Quit yelling at everybody like it's everybody else's fault that the offense is stuck in the mud and not in part your fault for not being in your 20s anymore. That's a hard thing to blame Travis Kelce for not being anymore. Not within his power, obviously, but it is certainly within the Chiefs' power to use Travis Kelce more selectively and not call plays for him that assume that he is what he once was. I don't want to see tight end screens to Travis Kelce anymore. Those plays don't work anymore. Block out the bad, accentuate the positive. What were the positives for the Chiefs on offense last night? They got back to some motion and some jet sweeps in the running game, stretching the field out horizontally. That created some opportunities for Pacheco and Hunt to, instead of running straight into a line that was bunched up, be able to create 3-4 yard gains, have a little bit more of a success rate on the ground. The screen game also returned for the Chiefs last night. I forget which one of you listeners, I think it was in the YouTube comments or earlier last week. It was some point last week where we're talking about Andy Reid's screen game and where has that gone. It made a little bit of a return. Again, I don't want Travis Kelce catching screens anymore. That ship has sailed, but Juju Smith-Schuster took a screen and picked up a first down on a 2nd and forever. That was a nice play. So it was nice to see that return. Quick throws, rhythm throws from Mahomes. those were back on the menu. And those help the Chiefs move the ball. Getting speedy guys the ball on the perimeter. Just because Xavier Worthy's hurt doesn't mean the Chiefs don't have guys who can run. Nico Remigio took an end around 8 yards. I'm good with seeing 1 or 2 of those a game. You can't build a whole offense out of that, but yeah, get a little bit of speed out on the perimeter and stretch the defense in that way. Brashard Smith, starting to see more of him. You can sense that the Chiefs really do want to get him involved because he has a burst that nobody else in that running back room has. You know what worked in the running game too? Under center runs. The Chiefs ran 2 of them and gained like 10 yards a carry on the touchdown drive that opened the third quarter. Getting Mahomes under center and running the ball out of those formations with multiple tight ends. The Chiefs still block that stuff really good, as it turns out. It's better as their basis for the running game than the shotgun stuff. If I can see it, you would think that Andy Reid and Matt Nagy could see it too. Oh, yeah, there's one other thing that works for the Chiefs on offense. Tyquan Thornton. Who knew? Some guys just need that change of scenery, right? Tyquan Thornton had 5 catches for 71 yards and a touchdown. The touchdown reception, by the way, you want to talk about vintage Mahomes, arm talent, putting it where only his guy can get it, threading the eye of the needle with velocity and accuracy. That was a brilliant Mahomes throw for the Thornton touchdown. Not an easy catch he made on the slide, the back of the end zone on that slant. And then, of course, after he drops what would have been a touchdown, and harsh to call it a drop, it was more like did not survive the ground, which is one of the dumber rules in sports. I understand it's the same for everybody, but I hate you see a guy make a catch and then you got to wonder if it was really a catch or did it not survive the ground. That was harsh on Thornton, but then the very next play, he makes the catch of the year so far for the Chiefs in one-on-one and sets up the Kareem Hunt touchdown that all but iced the game. Patrick Mahomes' average depth of target when throwing to Tyquan Thornton this season is over 25 yards. A real live bona fide deep threat on this offense that isn't Xavier Worthy. You know what a big deal that is? You know how many more options this is going to give the Chiefs to really stretch the field? Because Mahomes had some opportunities to sit back in the pocket and look for those throws. Now, there was some good coverage on the back end. They weren't always there. That's how it's going to be. But I actually thought for the most part, Chiefs' offensive line was okay last night against a really good defensive line. Now, they were helped by Brian Burns' injury, most definitely. And not everybody played a great football game. Juwan Taylor, buddy. Jalen Moore can't be worse than that. He can't. But I thought the other 4 guys more than held their own against that Chiefs pass rush and gave or that Giants pass rush. And it's going to be one of the best defensive lines and pass rush groups they play all year. And Mahomes had time to get the ball down the field. So, again, was it perfect? No. Was it good enough against some of the better teams, the more potent offensive teams the Chiefs are going to see this season? No, it wasn't. Even though they left 4 points that should have been theirs on the field. We're going to have a talk about Harrison Butker. We might not get to everything that was not great from today's game, or last night's game, but boy, Harrison Butker, I can't remember him missing what for him have been gimmies 3 weeks in a row before. That's new. That's alarming, officially, I think. But it was better, is my point. It was better from the Chiefs on offense, and they went to some things that are going to help them in the long run, especially when that's Xavier Worthy and not Nico Remigio taking that end around, especially when that's Brashard Smith in the screen game once they get him more involved and more comfortable with the running back duties in the Chiefs offense. You could see signs. You didn't have to squint to see them. Was it still all around a good performance? No, but it was a better performance. Was it a championship standard performance? No, they're not there yet, but it was better. And it was better in ways that I do feel ultimately are going to be replicable for the Chiefs moving forward. Defensively, hard to say too much in the sense that that Giants offense is obviously broken because Russell Wilson is 3 exits past washed up. But It was nice to see Chris Jones and George Karlaftis dominate up front after largely no showing the first 2 weeks. Both of them got sacks. For Chris Jones, it was his first of the year. And the back end continues to play really well. Ryan Cook was playing a super game before he got hurt. Trent McDuffie being able to play in the slot with Noel Williams' emergence on the perimeter is really exciting. Chris Roland Wallace, good stuff happens when he's around the ball. He makes an interception. Jalen Watson also with a pick. First 2 takeaways of the season on interceptions for the Chiefs. They kept a lid on the Giants' deep ball really throughout the night. All the Giants had was checkdowns and Cam Scadaboo running through people's faces because that's what he does. I thought it was a good performance from the defense. Again, to a championship standard, probably closer than the offense is right now, but maybe still not all the way there, but a step in the right direction. And a step in the right direction on the road against a similarly desperate team in week 3, I will take it. I will take it. That is not the game you watch and feel like, well, everything's fixed. Next stop, Lombardi Trophy. The Chiefs are cured. That was not, if that's what you were hoping for last night, you were disappointed because that's not what we saw. But what we did see is a game that reminded you that the roof isn't caving in. That, hey, you know what? The bones are good here. There's some good things that can continue to happen here. There's something to build on. We'll get your reaction from the YouTube comments, from the text line after we take this time out. Matt Verderam coming up in just a bit. We'll do Good, Bad, Ugly later this hour. We are just getting started on this Victory Monday edition of 580 Sports Talk. Just getting started. 3:31 here on this Victory Monday edition of 580 Sports Talk. Let's turn it over to you. Your reaction to the Chiefs' 22-9 win over the Giants last night. Again, the text line 785-272-9429. Can also get at us in the YouTube chat as well. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. Text from 785, Tyquan Thornton just might be a key player for this season. He's been a stud the past couple of weeks. Look, he's getting open. He's making catches. He's making tough catches. He's getting down the field. He's got legitimate speed. There's a reason he was a second-round pick. Things didn't work out in New England. Sometimes guys really do benefit from a change of scenery and a second chance, and going from playing with the cavalcade of bums and the cavalcade of bummy coaches in New England to playing for Andy Reid and with Patrick Mahomes. But it's cool to see him thriving like that. He's obviously a player who's gained a bunch of confidence. And it's obvious, too, that Mahomes has confidence in him, which is just as important. Also, from the text line for the 913, what's up with Butker? Boy, I wish I could tell you. But that's, again, 3 weeks in a row. Kicks we've taken for granted. Like, it was one thing. He missed that 58-yarder against the Eagles. And sometimes you miss from that distance. Like, nobody bats 1,000. There's never been a kicker who made every single one of his kicks. So if it's just 1 week, you have a bad week. If it's 3 weeks in a row where you miss a kick, and like contextually important kicks, that 58-yarder was to give the Chiefs an early lead against the Eagles, the extra point in the Chargers game, and then another field goal and an extra point that would have made a full 14-point lead last night against the Giants. Doesn't look like he's hitting the ball right. I don't know if it's physical. I don't know if it's mental. I'm not the kicker whisperer, but it's not good enough right now from Harrison Butker. And that's something, like, we have forgotten what it feels like to worry when the ball is spotted for a kick, right? When's the last time you worried about a kick? When was the last time you thought, I don't know if this is going in? We're close. 3 bad weeks in a row for one of the most reliable kickers, one of the great big game kickers in NFL history. So, yeah, that's got to get ironed out in a hurry. Thoughts from the YouTube chat. Andrew saying next week the Legion of Zoom 2.0 will be back because there's no Xavier Worthy tape yet this year. Him and Thornton against that Baltimore secondary. Kyle Hamilton will have his hands full. I am very fascinated to see what happens when Worthy is back in the lineup. And presumably that will be Sunday. He was close to returning against the Giants. Like, I saw enough stuff come back in schematically from the Chiefs yesterday. Some of the motion concepts, some of the end around and screen stuff. When they start getting that to better players than Tyquan Thornton and Nico Remigio, faster players, look out, because the Chiefs can still run that stuff. And I do think that the offense has another level to get to. It's like we talked about last week. Like, Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy don't fix everything, but they fix a lot. They fix a whole lot. Vance in the YouTube comments, Chiefs have a serious problem in the running back room. There's no question about that. Kareem Hunt is fine for what he is. I don't have any issues with Kareem Hunt right now. It's pretty clear Isaiah Pacheco's not up to the task of being a running back number 1 for this team. Brashard Smith, it's clear they like, but he's not there yet. Has a ways to go. Again, keep reminding you, he played 1 year of full-time running back in college at SMU. He was a wide receiver before that. And if Elijah Mitchell could give him anything, he would have given him something by now. He would have been active by now, right? So that is obviously a position, and as we get closer to the NFL trade deadline, there'll be more talking about this, but that is obviously a position where the Chiefs are going to want to look for an upgrade. I can already hear people clamoring for Devin Achane. My brother-in-law was in my ear, went out for breakfast as a family on Sunday. He was in my ear. I really want to go get Achane. I don't hate that. And he can't stay healthy, but like, obviously that would be some juice to the running back room that they just don't appear to have right now. Matt Verderam always brings the juice. He's going to join us next. He's our NFL insider here on 580 Sports Talk. We are joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline by Matt Verderam, our NFL insider here on 580 Sports Talk. Matt covers the league for Sports Illustrated, SI.com. You can also catch him on the KC Sports Network and his own subscriber-only Patreon, The Matt Verderam Show. Joins us every Monday at this time on the program. Matt, what changed for the Chiefs from a first half that was largely hideous to a second half where it seemed like they found a little bit of a rhythm offensively for the first time all season?
Yeah, after the first half, the sport had been set back to the Stone Age. So there was really nowhere to go but up. I think Goodell was trying to pull the power out at NBC. But look, I mean, I think part of it was they came out, the first drive in the second half, they ran the ball from under center. That's when they ran the ball best, which apparently is no guarantee they'll ever do it again because then they just proceeded not to do it the entire rest of the night. But I thought that was part of it. I thought Simmons struggled in the first half, so he played better in the second half. And look, as the half went on, I mean, they hit a big play to Thornton. They almost had two of them. They obviously also had touchdowns. So only had a big half in the win. And I think, ultimately they just designed things a little better. They executed better. Mahomes played very well in the second half. First half of that game, that might be the worst 30 minutes I've seen them play in a decade. I mean, Mahomes was throwing the ball backwards. Pacheco might have authored the single worst rep I've ever seen an NFL player. I mean, he was running a route like he was going to the other end zone and was like at full tilt. Like, I don't know what was going, but then also like didn't really go after the ball. Like he had to have known it was a ladder. Like that was the worst play I've ever seen. But look, they rallied from it and they ended up having a good second half offensively. Yeah, I mean, there was nowhere to go but up at half.
Tyquan Thornton has done the thing that you're supposed to do when you're a fringe player, be undeniable, make it so they have to play you. Right now, through 3 weeks, he's been the best Chiefs wide receiver. Had a good night last night, 5 catches for 71 yards. When the Chiefs do get their full component of wide receivers back, what do you think Thornton's role looks like? Because he can't just go back to being punt gunner. Sorry, Dave Tobe. Like, he's a little too important to the offense, it feels like.
Honestly, and I don't know if they'll do this, I would nail Juju to the bench, and I would pretty much do the same thing with Hollywood Brown. I mean, and that's not maybe fair to the guys in the sense that, look, both of them have contributed the first 3 games. Brown had 99 yards week 1. Juju had a good first half yesterday. He was about the only guy doing anything in the first half. But when they've got their full guys, like you've got to play Rice in the slot and Worthy and Thornton outside. Like you've got to do that. Thornton led the entire team in snaps last night for non-offensive linemen. I mean, he led everybody in the team. I guess it's obviously excluding Mahomes, but any skill position player, he led the team. Like you've got to play him. He is what MVS was supposed to be a couple of years ago, but better. Like he is to the point he is stretching the field. I mean, he had 71 yards last night. Mahomes missed him on that one throw on 3rd and 1. I mean, he could have 150. I mean, he's open all the time. He's only going to get more open when you've got Rice and Worthy out there. Like, I would rotate in Hollywood and sparingly play Juju, 8-9 snaps a game. But honestly, other than that, those would be the 3 guys. I would play those 3 guys. Royals rotate him in a little bit. Those 3 would get the bulk of the snaps.
Matt Verderam is our guest, our NFL insider, joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline here on 580 Sports Talk. Defensively, did you see another step forward potentially for the Chiefs last night, or did that have more to do with Russell Wilson needing desperately to just go home and be a family man at this point?
Yeah, Russell, well, look, the Giants at halftime should have held a retirement ceremony, even if it was against his will. Okay? They should have rolled out a stage and been like, we'd like to thank him for his contributions for 150 minutes of football. Good night. He is abominable at this point. I mean, the guy threw away a pass on 4th and goal and hit the crossbar when they were down by 2 scores. Now, look, that all being said, I mean, 2 things can be true. One, Russell Wilson looks like me playing football, which I appreciate. On the flip side, I thought the Chiefs defense did play really well. I mean, Malik Neighbors is a terrific player, and he's been very good this year, even with Russ under center. So hold that guy to 2 catches and 13 yards and 7 targets is a phenomenal job. Wan'Dale Robinson has had a very good start to the year. He had 1 catch. To be fair to Russell Wilson, it was the best he made all night. He zipped it down the seam. It's the only time he threw a ball down the seam. and hit him for 20. I think it was 26 yards. Listen, Scalaboo had a game where he was fine. I mean, he had 60 yards rushing. Now he did have 61 yards receiving, so all told, he had a very nice game. But he was it. They did nothing with the tight ends. They did nothing with the receivers. Chiefs pressured Wilson throughout the game with a 4-man rush mostly. They very rarely blitzed. I think if you're the Chiefs, you feel pretty good about where you are defensively. No, Williams played well when he was in. He's got to stop taking penalties, but I like his physicality. Salati's playing well. Norman Lott played well. I think you feel pretty good about them defensively. It is the offense right now that obviously, look, some of the cavalry's coming, but you've got to figure this out. I mean, offensively, it is just a struggle for them to move football.
Obviously, a lot can change between now and Sunday because the Ravens play their Week 3 game tonight on Monday Night Football. But should Xavier Worthy return on Sunday for the Chiefs-Ravens tilt, in what ways do you think the Chiefs can attack that Ravens defense?
Well, the Ravens are down a few guys right now. I mean, Van Noy's got a hamstring. Probably not going to play next week. He's probably not ready to play yet. Matabike, they've been very cagey with what's going on. He's just some illness symptoms from what Harbaugh said. He's not going to play tonight. He might be out longer. So there's a world here where Matabike and Van Noy don't play. And if that's the case, that is an enormous hit to their pass rush. I like Jones inside. I like Owe, but that's not a dominating front. I mean, if you don't have those are the two best pass rushers on the team. So if you're the Chiefs, that front seven all of a sudden, outside of Roquan Smith, you're not really scared of it. Now, that secondary is very good, but that might be kind of the key to this, where if you're the Chiefs, you can attack that a little bit. You can say, all right, like if your front seven's not particularly strong against the pass rush right now, you play Worthy and maybe you try to, you attack underneath a little bit. You dink and dunk. You play that style of football. Because one thing I will say for the Chiefs, they have owned the Ravens over the years. And a lot of times it's been because defensively they played very well against them. I think with the Ravens, look, it's the same thing, right? You always have to start with number 8. And if you can keep him in the pocket and you can limit Henry, which I think the Chiefs can do based on their personnel, then all of a sudden you go, all right, I mean, if you're the Chiefs, you feel like you can cover them. I mean, the Chiefs have the secondary to deal with the receiving threats. It really is more about, can you shut off the run to some degree? And if you can you score enough points? Can you win that game 23-20? Yeah, they've done it a lot, but the offense, with or without Worthy, it's going to be a challenge against that secondary. The Chiefs are going to have to scheme up some stuff, and that is obviously, to this point, it's been a struggle for them.
Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated is our guest, our NFL insider here on 580 Sports Talk on this Monday afternoon. Switching gears, take a look at the rest of the NFL as Week 3 again concludes tonight. Is the world ready for a two-man MVP race between Justin Herbert and Daniel Jones?
I don't think anybody's ready for that. Look, I mean, Herbert, to his credit, has played well. I mean, yesterday he wasn't great. He made one unbelievable throw to Allen for a touchdown. He threw it like 46 or 47 times for 300 yards. I mean, he wasn't awesome, but he has played very well at this point. And they're 3-0, and you can make a real case. Those are the two best teams in football in terms of consistency. Because I was actually talking about that in the podcast this morning. Like, I don't know that there's any team in the league right now. 3 weeks you look and go, that team's great. I don't know if that team exists. I mean, some people would say Buffalo, but Buffalo's a hair away from being 1-2. So it's, look, Daniel Jones, to his credit, he's played probably the most consistent football of anybody in the league. But listen, the one question you have with the Colts right now is still, can you beat good teams? I mean, Denver doesn't look particularly good, and Tennessee and Miami are maybe the two worst teams in the AFC. They go to the Rams this week. That is going to be a real test because the Rams are coming off a loss they never should have had on Sunday. They have a very good defensive front. It's on the road. If the Colts win that game, or even just are like really competitive in it, it kind of changes my opinion of the Colts a little bit. If they lose that game 30-10, then all of a sudden we're kind of back to maybe where we were going into this season, which is, okay, they're competitive, but how good? Good news for them, they're in the worst division in football.
The Eagles, to me, through the first 3 weeks of this season, are starting to feel a little bit like the 2024 Chiefs, where you keep asking yourself, How are they getting away with this? They were terrible for 2.5 quarters against the Rams, and they win that football game. And look, they've got the high-end elite talent. They can pull games out of the fire, but are they flying a little too close to the sun right now, particularly offensively, to feel really good that that's the beast of the NFC?
Yeah, look, what would scare me if I'm Philadelphia is last year Barkley just ran amok and did whatever he wanted, and that's not happening this year. And if that doesn't happen, that passing game is not built to just carry the day. It's not. And that's not a knock on Jalen Hurts. But, look, as great as those top two receivers are, and really Brown is great. Smith, I would say, is well above average. I don't think he's quite great. They don't have a third receiver. They don't have – Goddard's fine at tight end, but he's not a great tight end. Like, that all of a sudden becomes a team that if they can't run the ball really effectively, you can defend them. They're not overwhelming where, last year Barkley's every game it felt like was rushing for $150, and all of it. Now you're really kind of scrambling. It changes things. If Barkley's not running really well and they're in longer downs and distances, you're not afraid of throwing the football. You're very willing to let them do it. And defensively, I thought the Eagles, listen, give them credit. Like last year, I was the guy who sat here and said, hey, Leo Chenal blocking a kick is not luck. He made a great play. And I think that's fair. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, they found the weakness in the Rams special teams. They exploited it. They blocked 2 kicks. It's also, while I don't think it's luck, it's also not something you're going to repeat very often. And the Eagles defensively are not the team they were a year ago. They're not getting the same kind of pressure, which of course is going to make your secondary weaker. And so, listen, if they played the Rams 10 times, they might split the games, but they're not the dominant team that they were a year ago, at least not yet. But to their credit, they're 3-0, and that's all that matters. So right now in the NFC, if you had to pick a team, you'd have to say probably them playing the best. I don't know that they've been awesome, but they're probably playing better than anybody else considering where they sit.
Last one for you, Matt. Is it time to buy Caleb Williams? Probably one of the best games of his career yesterday against the Cowboys. I know the Cowboys stink, but Caleb Williams starting to look comfortable, and Ben Johnson starting to look comfortable scheming things up for his second-year quarterback.
I'm trying to buy. Look, I've been pretty critical of the Bears to this point, but I always try to be fair. They played very well against Dallas. Now, I also will, in the spirit of fairness, Dallas looked like they were playing defense with 6 guys yesterday. That was. Anyone who didn't watch that game, there were times where Bear would catch the ball and no one was on the screen for Dallas. It was like, oh, look at that, he's open for 50 yards after the catch. But listen. They did a really nice job. Williams played very well. He made every throw he was supposed to make, made a couple of tough throws. They played the Raiders this week. That's the kind of game that, if you're on the rise, on the come, you got to win that game. I don't care you're on the road. You're going to fill that place anyway with your own fans. That's the kind of a game that defense outside of Crosby's not good. Go there and win that game 27-19. If they do that, I'll buy in a little bit more because the first 2 weeks are pretty ugly. If they beat the Raiders and they play really well doing it, then okay, they'll have my attention a little bit.
10 seconds for this one, Matt. Who you got on Monday Night Football tonight?
The Ravens, but I think there's a path for the Lions to win with all the injuries up front.
Matt Verderame covers the National Football League for Sports Illustrated, SI.com. You can also subscribe to his Patreon with great Chiefs and NFL content, The Matt Verderame Show. He joins us every Monday in the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline here on 580 Sports Talk. Matt, always a pleasure. We'll do it again next week.
Sounds good, guys. Take care.
That is Matt Verderame. And we will take a timeout, come back with the good, the bad, the ugly from the weekend that was on 580 Sports Talk. It's the good, the bad, the ugly from the weekend that was. Brendan Dworzinski, what was your good?
Well, my good from the weekend, great to see you, by the way. Great to see all of you guys in here today. I think I'm on camera now. Should be good to go.
There you are.
My good is actually good and bad, actually, from today. I'm going to do my bad first. Voice, struggling a little bit. I'm not sick, just kind of a head cold, little drainage. I can also feel my voice going a little bit after the Washburn game this weekend.
Never fun.
The good, though, you get to hear one of my my unsung talents, which ironically, it's unsung, but it is singing. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll join with me. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Dan Lucero. Happy birthday to you.
That's right. That's right. It is my birthday today. Yeah,
25 years old today.
And I don't look a day over 18, truly. I credit the skincare routine, honestly. Oh, very kind of you to pop by and say happy birthday.
Oh, yeah. I had to make sure to get that in. I'm going to be honest with you. I lost track of time at the top of the show. And when I was going to pop in, you had already started talking about the Chiefs. So that's my bad, but we got it in before the hour was up.
Hey, listen, that's a good. That's good for the weekend. Made it another trip around the sun. 39 today for anybody who's asking, and this is where we stop counting. It's anniversaries of my 39th birthday from this point forward.
Anniversaries of the 39th birthday. That's good.
So yeah, there you go. That was that's good. Good for me on the weekend, and the Seahawks won. That was nice. They won big. They won easy. That was good.
Ugly for me. The Packers looked like crap. That was not good. Side good though. Packers radio broadcaster Wayne Larrivee at one point while Carl Cheffers was droning on and on during a penalty call, Wayne just blurts out, this guy just loves to hear himself talk. And Chiefs fans, I know you agree with Wayne on that.
My ugly was first half of the Chiefs game. And my bad, I didn't have it bad. It's my birthday weekend. More 580 Sports Talk coming up next hour. Let's get it. Hour number 2 on this Monday, a victory Monday here on 580 Sports Talk. So glad you're with us here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis with you for the next 2 hours, taking you until 6 o'clock. Chiefs Kingdom show follows us. It'll be a celebratory one tonight. And then we'll pick up coverage from Westwood One of Monday Night Football. You won't miss a play tonight. Just missed part of the pregame. After Chiefs Kingdom, we'll send you to Westwood One's coverage of Monday Night Football. That's how Frank Gifford used to say it. If you old enough to remember Frank Gifford doing Monday Night Football, I bet you're not.
I don't remember him doing it, but I know who the guy is because he was married to the lady that was on the
married to
Today
Kathy
Show.
Lee. Yeah, married to Kathy Lee Gifford. That's right.
Yeah.
You know that?
I know that, but that's about it.
Frank Gifford, incredibly famous during his playing days because he was the star of the New York Giants.
Yes.
I think him and Pat Summerall both played in that greatest game ever played, the 58 NFL championship game. Anyway, I just remember Frank Gifford as a kid, and he always said Monday Night Football in Monday, like Mondee. I just remember him saying it like
Monday.
that. So in my head, I will always, even though it has been many, many years since Frank Gifford was involved in those broadcasts in any way, I will always in my head hear it. Monday Night Football.
I know this isn't Monday Night Football, but this is a throwback, what I'm about to bring up. Did you watch any of NFL Today on CBS for their 50th anniversary?
So I didn't get to see it live. No, I saw a lot of the clips. I saw a lot of the still images. It looks like CBS really went over the top. They brought Brent Musburger back. We were all looking live. That was
intro
great.
where they were looking at all the games they had, and he said, "You're looking live." That was really cool. Also, the graphics packages, just the classics.
Yeah.
Like those
Bare
the
bones.
little things to make it all look like, hey, we're celebrating 50 years. Besides the people putting on things to make them look like they're from 50 years ago. Did you see JJ Watt in the booth?
Yes. He looked sharp.
He couldn't hold it together.
It was good. That was well done by CBS. While we're on the subject of old football broadcasters, but anyway, Lions Ravens should be a good game tonight, and you'll be able to hear it right here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. No Royals baseball tonight. Final road trip of the season opens tomorrow. We'll get there when we get there. We got some college football to talk about in this hour of the show, including KU's romp over West Virginia and the rest of the week that was in the Big 12 Conference. We're going to do what is wrong with you as well. Still some more NFL reaction to get to. So we want to hear from you. Get at us on the YouTube live chat. Again, if you are watching the show on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, there is a live chat feature during the live show, and you can type words into it, and other people, including us, can read them. And we love that interaction. It's a neat way to stay involved with the show and grow the 580 Sports Talk community. And if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel yet, no day like today.
Get us to 820.
Get us to 820. We're 81 subscribers shy of our next stretch goal, 580 Sports Talk Karaoke. If it's anything like arm wrestling last week between myself and Brendan, then you know it's going to be a doozy. So get us there. That's the stretch goal. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel today. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube is where you can subscribe. And then once you're subscribed, or even if you're not subscribed, you're just going to want to wait and say, yeah, I'll do it when more people jump into the pool. I want to be subscriber number 878 because that's my lucky number. And so I'm going to wait. You can still comment in the live chat. So appreciate everybody who is in there. Some nice happy birthday wishes to yours truly from the YouTube comments. Appreciate all of that. You can also text the program today. The text line is open. 785-272-9429 is that number. That is 785-272-9429. Want your thoughts on the Chiefs, the NFL, Jayhawks, anything else going on this weekend? Love to hear from you on that text line. KU 41, West Virginia 10. I was at the booth on Saturday night for this one. They didn't sell it out, which surprised me. I thought there would be more fannies and seats at the reimagined booth for that one. Some of that is West Virginia isn't going to travel like some other teams in the conference do. So You have maybe fewer visitor tickets sold, but I thought there'd be Cincinnati's a sellout for this coming Saturday, but they couldn't get to a sellout for West Virginia, which surprised me a little bit. But it was a good crowd. It was enthusiastic. Students were loud. Crowd was impactful. There was a false start at one point, and I think that was entirely attributable to the crowd making some noise on a critical third down. And the Jayhawks walked a mud hole in those boys. And there's not a lot real good going on for Rich Rod in his first year back at West Virginia. They won the backyard brawl. That's going to have to hold them for a while.
Yeah.
Our West Virginia area correspondent, Spencer Dupuis, that is the kind of game that will hold you for a season. Like, there's only but so mad they're ever going to be about a year where they beat Pitt.
Yeah, I think you also got to know, like, you got a lot of guys that are sticking around here that were the trust the climbers.
The Neil Brown's guys, yeah.
Including their atrocious quarterback, Nico Marchiol,
so
who got benched.
They've got 5 guys listed. If you've ever seen a 2-deep, the reason they call it a 2-deep is because it's supposed to have 2 players per position, a starter and a backup.
Sometimes you get a third if a guy's injured.
Sometimes you get 3. Usually, if you get more than 2, you get an or on the depth chart, which it's going to be this guy or it's going to be this other guy. We don't know. We're going to rotate them. Maybe one of the guys is dealing with an injury. We're not sure he's going to make it to Saturday. You get that or, but typically speaking, they call it a 2-deep because they put 2 players per starting position on the 2-deep. You know, math. There are 5 quarterbacks listed for West Virginia on the 2-deep, and they're all an or. It's Nico Marchiol or these 4 other schlubs. And honestly, the schlubs might be all better than Marchiol, man. They might need to make a change. They only had a sign of life when the backup came in, and I'm struggling to remember the backup's name. Is it Jalen Henderson? Yeah. Was it Jalen or Jaden? I feel bad. I'm forgetting the guy's name.
It's Jalen Henderson.
Jalen Henderson. Yeah, okay, yeah. Like he led their touchdown drive. He ran for 77 of the 79 total yards on that touchdown drive. So he had a little juice in his legs. That offense, and to be fair, they're down one of their best wide receivers for the season. They're down their best running back for the season. And they
down a tight end.
They were down their second best running back on Saturday because Ty Edwards, who was the breakout star of the backyard brawl, suffered a hip pointer and he couldn't go. So they're shorthanded. It's true. But also, like, we've seen Nico Marchiol's movies to this point. He's not particularly good. That's just not a talented football team. And maybe it is fortunate, maybe it is not. Depends on your perspective, that we will not see West Virginia and Oklahoma State play each other this year to really find out quién es menos macho, if you will, who is the true toilet team in the Big 12 this year, because those 2 teams are wretched. But
the thing that I think's funny about that, real quick, just to finish our West Virginia aside here, your backup quarterback's a guy that, I mean, I guess you bring him in obviously to be the backup if you were going to make a run this year. He's a redshirt senior. This is his last year of eligibility. He's not going to be with you next year. At what point are you not going to go to him, skip him, and go to a young guy to get him reps?
They did that at the very end. They brought in a redshirt freshman. I want to say his last name was Watkins to run the offense a little bit, but definitely more of a, we're just going to run read option with these guys. Like, we don't trust them to throw the ball at all. It's just going to be read option stuff. So it's a dire situation, no question, for West Virginia. The guy who carries around the giant punt flag on the pole, if you've never seen the glory of a sideline punt flag. So what they've got is they've got this flag pole that had to be, I don't know if they went and got a length of PVC pipe at the Home Depot or what, but this flag has to be 15 feet tall. And it's a gold flag with punt on it in white lettering. And when it's third down, because West Virginia goes fast, right? They go up tempo. They Rich Rod's teams have always done that. So they're plays over, they're right to the line, they're right over the ball. So on second down, when third down is coming up, they wave the punt flag to say, hey, let's get, if you're on the punt team, get together because you might be going out on the field if they don't convert the first down on this play. It's just like a signal that they send to the bench in the form of a big flag that says punt. And whoever had to wave the punt flag got to work out because it was a lot of punting for the West Virginia Mountaineers on Saturday. We have poor mouth West Virginia enough. A team that bad, you're supposed to beat. You're supposed to beat them convincingly, especially if you play them at home. Kansas took care of that business and beat that booty something fierce with that 41-10 score. The thing that really strikes me about KU so far and watching their first 4 games, how much faster they are on defense than I've maybe ever seen them. Certainly in the Lance Leipold era, this is the fastest and most athletic they've been from front 7 all the way to the secondary. They fly around. They play aggressively. They play and they hit with intent. They got after Marchiol on just about every third down. Dean Miller had a sack on the first third down, first series of the night for West Virginia, and that was really tone setting. Trey Lathan was everywhere. He had a sack and an interception in the contest. The secondary flies around, maybe a little too aggressive in one case. Devin Dye got ejected for targeting in the third quarter, so he's going to have to sit out the first half against Cincinnati on Saturday. But they are flying, and it just stands in stark contrast to what they were last year, where I thought they were pretty athletic. This group is more athletic defensively than last year's. But last year, they did not play downhill. They did not play as fast. They did not play as physically as this group does. I think that this is Lance Leipold's, certainly it's his most athletic defense, and I don't think that it's an overreaction just 4 games in, 2 of them being against Wagner and the worst team in the Big 12. I still don't think it's an exaggeration to say this is probably Leipold's best defense.
Yeah.
And they just imposed their will on the entire first 3 quarters of that football game until West Virginia basically just started running a high school read option offense, veer offense, and KU had some backups in at the time. Before that, it was BTA, belt to you know what, for the Kansas defense in a way that is kind of foreign to watch a Kansas defense impose their will in that fashion against a Big 12 team. It was really good stuff from the defense. Offensively, didn't think KU was an A+ by any means. They left some money on the table. Honest to goodness, they could have scored in the 50s. Jalen Daniels missed a couple of deep throws, guys he had open that he just maybe didn't get his feet settled, couldn't get his feet settled. Some of the throws were on the run and just missed on some plays that were downfield. They still don't have a fully healthy Daniel Highshaw. He only had 2 carries on Saturday night and then subbed out. But LaShawn Williams was impressive. Caught a touchdown pass out of the backfield. Beautiful play design. They faked triple option, and then Daniel set, and they had the backside wheel route coming through the B gap of the offensive line, and you end up with a running back being covered by Jamori Robinson. And if you don't know who Jamori Robinson is for the West Virginia Mountaineers, he's a defensive end. And a running back being covered by a defensive end usually only ends one way, and that one way is 6 points. And that's what happened. It was gorgeous play design. Jim Zabrowski deep in the bag for that one. And then Williams had the 62-yard touchdown run late in the game to account for KU's final score, really put the game on ice. It was an impressive game for Williams. Went over 100 yards on the ground, 129, I believe. Really nice effort for him. Special teams. Emmanuel Henderson takes the opening kickoff of the second half for a touchdown. Tate Nagy had 2 big punt returns. Henderson had another lengthy kickoff return out to midfield after West Virginia's first score of the night, a field goal in the first half. KU covered kicks extremely well. West Virginia didn't even want to return kicks. West Virginia's returner looked like he was under strict orders to just fair catch everything and get to the sideline. Like, they didn't want to take any chances. I have no idea why he was scared to return the ball, but it was a fair catch every single time but one. And the one time it wasn't was because the ball took a funky bounce as he was backpedaling away from it, and he had no choice but to catch it, and then he was dropped where he stood.
Yeah.
So the contrast in special teams play was striking. And KU in Laith Marjan has a guy who looks pretty automatic so far. Like, he's not missing a lot of kicks. That kid's got a good leg, got a strong leg, and KU played, we say all that to say, like a complete football team on Saturday. This is the rest of Kansas's Big 12 schedule. They've got Cincinnati at home on Saturday. Now, that line was funky because it opened at 5.5 at the close of KU's win and immediately went to 3.5, which was not the direction I thought it was going to move. It has since snapped back. According to our friends at Prairie Bank Casino and Resort, Kansas is a 6-point favorite for Saturday morning, an 11 a.m. kickoff against the Bearcats. Then Kansas goes to UCF. Then they go to Texas Tech, who had what is so far the most impressive win of the Big 12 season, going on the road to Utah and winning. We'll have more about that later on this hour. Then they have a bye. Then K-State at home. Then Oklahoma State at home. Then Arizona on the road. Then Iowa State on the road after a bye. And they finish with that Black Friday home game against Utah. Kansas is going to be favored in 6 of their final 8 Big 12 games. I think the only games they will not be a favorite will be Texas Tech and Iowa State. Maybe this is me overreacting to Utah's performance against Texas Tech, but the Kansas I've seen and the Utah I saw on Saturday at home, I think Kansas could be a short favorite in that game. Kansas is absolutely going to be favored against Kansas State. I know what recent history, long recent history, and not so recent history has said about the Sunflower Showdown, the Governor's Cup. But Kansas is going to be a favorite, barring a dramatic shift in fortunes over the next month for the Wildcats in the Sunflower Showdown at home. There's no question they're going to be favored at UCF. There's no question they're going to be favored against Oklahoma State at home. I don't think there's any question they'll be favored at Arizona. I guess we'll see. Arizona's got a big one coming up next week. But I really project that there will only be the 2 road games for the teams that are currently ranked in the top 15, Texas Tech and Iowa State. I think those might be the only games KU's not favored to win the rest of the way. So if you win the games you're supposed to, next week, UCF, K-State, Oklahoma State, Arizona, Utah. Those right now feel like games, even the ones that are maybe leaning closer to toss-up, and again, this is only because if you've watched Kansas and you watch Kansas State play, there's no question right now who's better. The only reason we're talking about this game in the terms we're talking about it in is because Kansas State hasn't lost since Hector was a pup. And then you have Utah, which we'll see where they're at on November 28th. We'll see where those 2 teams are at. But right now, if I had to guess, there will be 2 games in which KU is the underdog. If you win the games in which you are the favorite, that is 7-2 in the Big 12, and a 7-2 record has been good enough to play for a Big 12 championship. Now, they do end up losing to both Texas Tech and Iowa State. That puts you maybe in a bad spot if you get into a tiebreaker type of scenario. There's obviously a long way to go, but the path is clear, and the games that are left on this schedule are not, outside of those road games to Lubbock and Ames, particularly imposing or particularly daunting. There's not a game on the schedule that I would say Kansas has no chance of winning. If the defense is healthy and is this physical, this fast, if the offense has this much big playability, if they continue to play complementary football, I think 7-2 is entirely reasonable. And probability, don't make me do like advanced math here, but just going by will you be favored or not, I think Kansas would be favored to go something like 6-3, 7-2 in the conference. And that's going to have you in with a chance at going to Arlington.
Yeah. I think that's huge for them right now, is just obviously playing the way that they've started the season, but also the way that their opponents' seasons have started and shaped up how their season's looking, because you only play the team that's on your schedule, obviously. But if you went into the season and told me that about August 1st, told me August 1st that KU was going to be favored against K-State, I don't know if I would have believed you.
No. Obviously, there's a lot that can change between now and then. Like I said, if there's a major reversal of fortune for Kansas State, starting with Saturday at home against UCF, maybe that spread looks a little more like what it has historically. But or in recent history. But right now, as I look at it on paper, Kansas can go 7-2 in the conference. And if you go 7-2 in the conference, you're going to have a chance to go to Arlington. You might be in a tiebreaker scenario, and you might get the raw end of the stick on that, but you're going to have a chance. And that's all you can ask for. And Kansas, to my mind, looks good enough through 4 games to feel like, whereas maybe we went into this season thinking that, a bowl would be a good year for KU. 6 wins, 7 max. That was kind of what I was thinking for this Kansas team. They're a lot further along on defense, and Jalen Daniels looks really good. And so I think you can adjust your expectations upward, even if you're not willing to go all the way to booking your tickets for Jerry World on the first Saturday of December. And I understand that if you're not ready to go there yet, but you can definitely adjust your preseason expectations for Kansas upwards, because doing what they did to a bad team at home is what good teams do. We'll take a time out here on 580 Sports Talk. When we come back, we got some more Big 12 football we're going to talk about this hour, but we're going to take a short break from that to do What Is Wrong With You. Coming up next on 580 Sports Talk. is time for another week of What is Wrong with You here on 580 Sports Talk. This will be our final full week. We'll crown a weekly champion on Friday, and then Monday we'll have the semifinals, and Tuesday, the 30th, we'll have our What is Wrong with You championship for the month of September. So it's a new week. It's 2 new stories. I will go first. This story takes us to Macon, Missouri, the northeast portion of the state, where 34-year-old Amber Dawn Butler is accused of stealing more than $3,400 in cash and merchandise from her employer, Macon BP. According to court documents, Butler admitted to Macon police as she took the money and played the convenience store's slot machines with it. Took money out of the cash register and put it into the slot machine. Officers said the defendant also confessed to scratching lottery, paying for them, just taking them out of the roll, and stealing cigarettes and bottled water from her workplace. Butler pleaded not guilty this week. She blames her felony stealing charge on her gambling addiction. And I do not say this to minimize the very real problem of gambling addiction, a very real scourge that hurts people, that tears apart families. Please get help if you or someone you know are experiencing gambling addiction. What part of gambling addiction had her stealing cigs and water? Like what part of the game was that?
Yeah.
Was it just like the whole thing is like a gamble that you don't get caught? Like, hey, I got a 3-leg parlay. I'm going to steal some scratchers. I'm going to steal a pack of Marlboro Reds, and I'm going to steal this Fiji, and I'm going to 3-leg parlay it that I don't get caught on any of them. What are my odds? Do I get good odds? She is being held in the Macon County Jail on $10,000 cash-only bond. Andrew asked a fair question in the YouTube chat. If you do have a gambling addiction, why would you apply to work at a place where there is gambling? Yeah, that's a tough one, right? Because look, yeah. I understand this day and age, like unemployment being what it is, you need a job. We all got to work. We all need a check, and beggars can't be choosers in that regard. But yeah, if you know you're going to be staring across from the counter at a C-store and looking at what do they call them? What do they call slot machines? What's the nickname for the slot machine? The one-armed something?
One-armed bandit?
The one-armed bandit? Yeah, the one-armed bandit. You're looking at one-armed bandits 15, 20 feet away from you all day. Like, yeah, that's a little tempting.
Yeah. It's just like if you are an alcoholic and you work at a bar.
Yeah.
Like that same.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that?
Yeah. It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. Not a lot of thought going into any of this here. All right. What is your story today, Spencer?
Well, I found a last minute change. So we have a last minute change from what was in there about 10 minutes ago to what's in there now.
Okay.
A Florida woman in escorts has been arrested for an alleged silly string attack. Yes, you heard that right.
Okay.
Investigators say that the colorful battery occurred Thursday evening at the OCC Roadhouse Bar in Clearwater, Florida. As detailed in the arrest affidavit, Crystal Watts, 48, confronted the victim and began spraying him with silly string until the can was empty. She allegedly threw the can at the victim, Jesse Hammock, who was 33. The silly string struck Hammock in the forehead, quote, causing a laceration, end quote.
So that's what did the damage here. Not so much the silly string itself, just dented the dude's forehead or the person's forehead with the can.
The affidavit does not identify a motive for the 9 p.m. silly string attack. Watts was arrested for battery. She spent the night in custody before being freed Friday on a $1,000 bond. The phone number listed for the defendant in court records turns up on an escort service website that includes a variety of explicit photos of Watts, who was identified as Taylor.
Lovely.
Yes.
Please do not read the description from the escort service. Please don't put.
Oh, I know. I'm not putting that on the air. But
I regret having read it. So please do not put that in the ether. No. So like. Is it like who's just got like silly string on them?
That's like something that I did when I was in like 8th grade or something.
Who is it that says, "Oh, I keep that thing on me," and that thing is a can of silly string, and you're 48 years old?
I don't know.
Like, okay, like I understand if you're working in that line of work, you probably do need to protect yourself
with like pepper spray.
But yeah, like mace, pepper spray, not silly string. You silly string somebody? Wait, what?
And then you throw the can at them.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
Through the can.
Like it's all out. I got nothing else to do. Throw it away. I'm going to run away.
Yeah, just throw the can and I'm out of here. Yeah, that's really funny.
Yeah.
The silly string assault, and we have the one with the gambling addiction. I think it's got to be silly string lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Van said, she used the whole can. I can't read that, Vance. I read that wrong. I can't read that. Oh my gosh! I almost put that on the screen for other people to read. Vance, you almost got me in trouble, my guy. She did. She used the whole with an L can of silly string. Oh my gosh. I gotta watch what I'm reading. Maybe my vision's not too good now that I'm in my ripe old age. My vision's starting to fail me a little bit. So the silly string assault is going to be our first winner for the week on What Is Wrong With You. We will take a break here on the program. When we come back, it was a big week in the Big 12. Who were the big winners? And who is the big loser? It was Oklahoma State. We'll talk about it next on 580 WIBW. It's 441 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan and Spencer with you until 6 tonight. Chiefs Kingdom with the great Mitch Holtis follows that, followed by Westwood One's coverage of Monday Night Football, the Lions and the Ravens. That'll be one worth staying up for tonight after I get my kiddo to bed. Big 12 football over the weekend. We said it was going to be an important weekend for the conference in terms of public perception because there were going to be two pretty significant games to the conference title race, even this early in the season. And they were going to have prime network real estate. Texas Tech and Utah was big noon Saturday, and Fox's primetime game was Arizona State and Baylor. We'll start with Tech and Utah because the scoreboard says Tech blew Utah out 34-10. It was closer than that for the better part of the four quarters. But make no mistake, Texas Tech was the better team for the four quarters, and they deserved to win. And I always think it's unfortunate when somebody loses their job because they get hurt. Like, it's a reality of sports, right? It's a history of sports. It's one of the most famous instances, the fact that we still use the guy's name as the example for losing your job because you weren't able to work for a day. Wally Pipp had a headache, and Lou Gehrig played in his place and was still there 2,130 games later. We still use poor Wally Pipp, who, point of fact, I don't know if people know this, Wally Pipp was a pretty good player. Like, he wasn't Lou Gehrig, but Wally Pipp was a fine player. 15 years in the major leagues. He led the American League in home runs twice. Once in 1917 when he hit 9 home runs. Yeah. That led the American League in 1917. So, yeah, good player, but all anybody remembers about Wally Pipp was he had a headache one day, and the Yankees said, all right, let's give this Gehrig kid a shot, and then he was still there 2,130 games later. So, it's just a fact. It's unfortunate for the injured person or the afflicted person, but sometimes you get Wally Pipp. And I'm not telling Joey McGuire how to do his job, but I don't think he should go back to Baron Morton. I think Will Hammond's the guy. And let me tell you why I think Will Hammond's the guy. It has nothing to do with the numbers he put up in that win for Texas Tech, though they were impressive. I mean, the kid came out and he balled out. He was terrific. The final numbers for Hammond, 13 of 16 for 169 and 2 touchdowns, also rushed 8 times for 61 yards. In contrast, Baron Morton was 12 of 19 passing for 142. That's not bad, but he didn't throw any touchdowns, and he got picked twice. And he rushed 5 times for a total of 2 yards. Will Hammond is the guy. He can do more than Baron Morton did. And when I was watching the game, when Hammond went in for a play, because it was earlier in the game where Morton, I think, had tweaked something, and then he went back in the game. He took a gnarly hit. His head bounced off the turf there at Rice-Eccles Stadium, and it was pretty clear that his egg had been scrambled. He wasn't going to be able to come back in the game one way or another after that. But in the first instance where Morton had to come out and Will Hammond came in, they had a shot, a close-in shot on the field of Hammond going into the huddle, and there were 10 guys in that huddle who were delighted to see him.
Yeah.
Like, they looked fired up for that guy to be in the game. And look, Hammond ran the first team offense all spring. Like, there was real question about Morton's health and was he going to be available and was it still going to be his job? And then he had the starting job and he's had good moments. But I watched Texas Tech rally around Will Hammond in a way that, look, I know they were killing teams and I know Morton was putting up good numbers early in the season, but I also know that you can't fake the enthusiasm when a guy comes in off the bench and you're fired up for that guy. It was obvious that Hammond lit a spark under Texas Tech. They were up 10-3 when he came in, but that was not a convincing 10-3. It did not feel like Texas Tech had control of that game. They felt much better after Hammond went in. I don't know that Joey McGuire's got the guts to do it or the heart to do it to Baron Morton. He might have too much heart to do it to a kid like Morton who's worked hard, who's been through a lot. But I think Texas Tech should go with Will Hammond the rest of the way.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I was really impressed with him. I was really impressed with that Texas Tech defense. Man, That NIL money, they went and bought themselves a damn defense. Make no mistake, that was money well spent for David Bailey and Romello Height and Cole Wisniewski. That was money well spent by the Texas Tech Red Raiders. They made a very clear statement of intent. And with all due respect to Iowa State and their unbeaten start, Texas Tech, with that win, plants their flag as the team to beat in the Big 12 Conference. Again, all due respect to Iowa State, Matt Campbell. That's still a really good team. Texas Tech going on the road to Utah and winning like they did and doing it, being more physical than Utah and beating up that offensive line. It's got 2 potential first-round picks on it. That says to me Texas Tech's the team to beat. So that was a super impressive performance by the Red Raiders. As for Utah, Devin Dampier looked a little funny in the light. 25 of 38 for 162 and a pair of picks. 11 carries for a net 27 yards. Maybe still a ways to go for that Utah offense. We were all ready to crown the Utes after they ran it up on UCLA, and then we found out that UCLA was a dumpster fire, maybe the worst Power 5 team in the country. So let's pump the brakes a little bit on the Utes is all I'm saying. They fell out of the top 25. That was well-deserved. We'll pump the brakes on them a little bit, but they got a get-right game coming up on Saturday against West Virginia. They should have no problem with West Virginia. The other big game, I didn't get to see much of Arizona State Baylor. I was at the KU game. I was covering that. It was much lower scoring than I would have anticipated. And both teams have a very defined flaw at this point that probably keeps either team from, to me, feeling like they belong on the Texas Tech, Iowa State tier in the conference right now. Arizona State just comes out of the gate slow. That's just who they are at this point. They come out of the gate slow. And when you do it over and over again, it kind of becomes part of your DNA that you're just a slow starting football team. You're a little sleepy when it's opening kickoff, and it takes you a while to really get going. Now, when they got going, they moved the ball effectively. They put together a great drive. Look, anytime you score winning field goal after you've just given up the tying touchdown or you're on the road, that said a lot about Arizona State, their character to me. Still think they're well coached. They're just a slow starting football team, and that's going to burn them against really good teams as we go along. As for Baylor, they committed a really bad penalty on that final drive that helped Arizona State get into field goal range. They turned the ball over 3 times. They're a sloppy and undisciplined football team, and it gives rise to the same questions we've had about Dave Aranda pretty much since his second season in charge at Baylor. After 1 year, we thought Dave Aranda invented football. And ever since then, we've kind of been waiting for Baylor to decide that they've had enough of Dave Aranda. And if they continue to be that sloppy and undisciplined, that day is not far in the future for the Baylor Bears. That was, I don't think either team feels probably like they played their A game. Neither coach was happy in their post-game remarks. But Arizona State at least got the win to take back from Waco. TCU got a good win. I think they're good. I don't know, again, that I'd put them with Texas Tech and Iowa State, but I think TCU's legit. Josh Hoover, big game. They beat SMU by 11 points. UCF, I don't know how good they are, but North Carolina, who I remind you is coached by literally Bill Belichick, is the worst coached team I think I've seen through now 5 weekends of college football. They don't know how to play, man. Yeah. Defensively, they're all over the place. They blow assignments. They blow coverages. They miss tackles. They do all the stuff that when you watch a game on TV, you go, yeah, that team doesn't seem very poor. That team doesn't seem well coached at all. And Bill Belichick is their coach. Unbelievable to me. But anyway, UCF beat UNC and really hammered them. It was never close. Colorado took care of business against Wyoming. BYU pulled away from ECU. No surprises there. Friday night, Oklahoma State lost 19-12 to Tulsa.
Dan, I know you were rooting so hard for Tulsa.
For those who don't know, I've only made slight reference to this on the show. On this year's version of the college football video game, CFB 26, you know, if you've ever played the game, you always pick a downtrodden program or a program that doesn't win a lot, and you start your dynasty there, right? You try to build them up. You try to win national championships where people aren't winning national championships. This year, I am the head coach of the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. And let me tell you, first of all, how proud I am of my guys. I'm so proud of Dominic Richardson. I'm so proud of Ray Coney. I'm so proud of my guys. They won in a stadium they had not won in since 1951. That is an incredible accomplishment for Tulsa. We coached them up. We had them believing. That's the hardest thing to do sometimes. You got to get those kids believing. But my staff and I, we had those guys believing. #Rain Kane. Very happy for Tulsa. Oklahoma State lost to Tulsa. And if it was not over for Mike Gundy when they lost by 66 to Oregon, it is certainly over now. And the only question is, do they try and let him go out with some semblance of dignity? Do they try to let him go out on something like a winning note? Where is the winning note for Oklahoma State? They didn't win a conference game last year, and they look worse this year. At least last year they had Ollie Gordon. Who they got this year? They might lose all their Big 12 games again. So where is the dignity? Where is the moment where you can let Mike Gundy step aside with one last guard of honor, trip on his players' shoulders around the stadium? It's not happening. I don't know why they don't rip the Band-Aid off. There's been a couple programs that have already done it. Again, Gundy means a lot to Oklahoma State. He's accomplished a great deal there, more than I think most coaches would have been able to accomplish there over the years. But it is over for Mike Gundy. If I may quote Craig Mack from the Flavor in Your Ear remix, or actually Notorious B.I.G. from the Flavor in Your Ear remix. You won't be around next year. We'll take a break, come back with more on 580 Sports Talk. Looking back as we wrap up this 4 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk, at our 580 Sports Talk picks for the weekend, the picks contest. Tough beat for Spencer. Not the worst beat of the week, but a tough beat in Tampa Bay, New York.
Yeah, the Jets.
Buccaneers would have covered handily if not for the blocked field goal that turned into a touchdown for the Jets. Tampa Bay ends up winning the game, but they don't cover the 6.5. And that was the only thing standing between Spencer and perfection. Yes, the freaking Commanders and Thundering Herd covered again.
The bid continues. We had a little scuffle a couple weeks ago, but the bid continues. Also, real quick, I have a survivor pool with 85 people. We can win like $450. I was sweating out, and I picked Tampa.
Oh,
I was sweating
you and a lot of people.
Game out.
You and a lot of people, I'd imagine. Brendan bounced back. He had a miserable week last week. Good bounce back for Brendan. 3-2 on the week, despite having, I will call it our biggest miss of the weekend. He had the Bengals covering against the Vikings. That sure didn't happen.
Yeah.
But hey, look, losses only count for one, right? I am still not in an emotional space where I can talk about what happened to Rams plus 3.5. I don't know what to say. That and another push, my third of the season already. Chargers -3 was a push, and that kept me from a winning week. I ended up going 2-2-1.
I'm 10-7-1 for the record.
Yep, you're in the lead. You remain in the lead, and I am still behind you, and Brendan is still in third place. We got headlines. We got a thought on Juwan Taylor. Maybe he's good in some ways, and we'll talk some baseball in the final hour, 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Third and final hour of this Monday edition of 580 Sports Talk. Dan Lucero and Spencer Dupuis chilling with you for this final hour of the show on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. Thanks for following along. Thanks for being here on the show today. Love to hear from you in the YouTube chat and on our text line, 785-272-9429, 785-272-9429. If you've got some lingering thoughts, concerns, questions, comments regarding the Chiefs and their 22-9 win over the Giants on Sunday Night Football last night, we'll get to them. YouTube chat. I've got a graphic we're going to throw up in the YouTube comments or in the YouTube screen. Got a graph, actually. It's a graph. Look at this graph. We're going to do that. We're going to look at a graph.
Photograph.
One of my favorite. That was one of the great Vines. Man, I miss Vine. TikTok will never replace Vine. Vine, you had 6 seconds to be funny. You could either be funny in 6 seconds or not. TikTok, these people are taking like an hour and a half to set up jokes. TikToks can be like feature films. And with Vine, you were either funny right away or you weren't funny.
Apparently Vine videos at some point could be making a comeback. This was early August. Everyone's favorite government employee, newer government employee that then left Elon Musk in X's archives, found Vine archives.
Okay.
So maybe we'll get them at some point.
I would love to be able to, because I know like my Twitter archive, I got so many broken links to Vines. It's not even funny. I would love to be able to go back and watch Back at It Again at Krispy Kreme, or Hi, Welcome to Chili's, or I'm Semi, I Stay Automatic, or any of my other old favorite Vines. Vine was much better than TikTok. I'm sorry. If you don't remember, you had to be there. Anyhow, later this hour, I saw this floating around X, and it's a graph, and it has to do with tackle play, offensive tackle play in the NFL. And as far as the Chiefs go, it brings me to two conclusions. And the first conclusion is, however excited you are about Josh Simmons through 3 games, you're not excited enough. That's my first conclusion. And my second conclusion is, if Jawaan Taylor would just quit being such a bozo and committing penalty after penalty, he might be good. Like, I'm willing to entertain the notion. All it took was this one graph. I'm willing to entertain the notion and understanding of maybe why the Chiefs haven't gone to the Oak for Jalen Moore yet, because when he isn't being a bozo and not lining up appropriately or false starting or committing holding penalties, Jawaan Taylor's good at his job, which is a little like saying, except for that time you let somebody walk out of the bank with $1 million in a duffel bag, you were pretty good at being a security guard.
Look, I got something to say about this.
Go for it.
He has an unfair advantage because I don't know if you noticed this, but I always noticed it. And finally, Chris Collinsworth pointed it out on Sunday Night Football. He leaves early every play.
No, like he leaves on time. If it was early, they'd flag it. Like, the kick step has been in the league for a long time. And I have only ever known before Jawaan Taylor, and maybe including Jawaan Taylor, tackles who are not particularly great to do it. You remember, you probably don't, Bradley Soul was the guy's name. He played for the Bears. He played for the Seahawks. He is the worst offensive tackle I've ever seen. Like, genuinely. Worse than Mike Remmers in both Super Bowls that he lost for his teams. The worst I've ever seen, Bradley Soul. And Bradley Soul would start with that kick step. And the reason it doesn't get flagged is because guys know the snap count. Guys know when the snap is coming so that they can fire as soon as they hear that syllable. And if you get good enough at it, you're not moving early. Now, when you do move early, you do get flagged. But the kick step Not an illegal move if you time it right. And it doesn't, I know it looks like they don't time it right, but they time it right because they know the count and they know when they can get, they know when they can get off. They know when they can fire off. So I think he gets an unfair bad rap for the kick step. I think all of the other criticisms are completely fair, but also the numbers so far suggest that when he's not going bozo mode, he's like performing at a borderline elite level. Like we'll get there. It blew my mind too. I was prepared, in fact, to do a segment about it's time to bench Jawan Taylor. I have been presented with some new evidence that suggests maybe we give him another chance. I'll leave it to you, but you want to get in on the YouTube channel during this hour, and you'll get to see the graph for yourself. We'll throw it in the YouTube chat as well for posterity. Anyhow, text from 785 says Dan called Twitter X, put $1 in the jar. Look, what Twitter was and what X is are two entirely different things at this point. That's why I think the distinction is warranted. There was Twitter, and now there is X. I think
to be fair, Twitter's been roaming with bots for years, though.
Yeah, it's not the bots. I would say that the institution of the AI chatbot is sort of the dividing line, where every time now you post something, you got a bunch of losers with blue checks who are like, at Grok, is this true? And also, could you say it in a way that is derivative of 1990s jive hip hop talk? And like, that is the dividing line for me. Like that is the point at which it became its own thing. So it's X now. It was Twitter. It used to be Twitter. After a while, it was, even after the rebranding, I still called it Twitter out of stubbornness, but it's a different thing now. It's X. Anyhow, that's the distinction over there. You can still find us on X. We still post over there, 580 Sports Talk. If you've migrated to Blue Sky, we're over there at 580 Sports Talk. I'm over there at Dan Lucero. The whole gang's over on Blue Sky as well. Spencer Dupuy, Brendan DZW. But if you're still over on X, we still bring it to you over there too. We cross post if we're live logging games, things like that. So we're not going anywhere over there. But you can also find us in some other places, and of course, always on Facebook at WIBW News. Anyway, we got a lot of headlines to get to today. We have some slow news days last week. We have lots that we can get to today. A bunch of college football stuff. So why don't we start there? We'll start with a whole host of college football headlines. We'll start Big 12 specific, and then we'll broaden out from there. The Big 12 has made their TV time selections for next Saturday, not this coming Saturday, but next Saturday, October 4th. This is how State has fallen. Their game at Baylor on 11 a.m. kick on the Plus, ESPN Plus, for K-State Baylor on Saturday, October 4th in Waco. Kansas at UCF that same Saturday. That will be a nighttime game, a 6:30 Central Time kickoff. That game will be on ESPN2. Other kickoff times for Saturday, October 4th, Iowa State and Cincinnati get the ESPN2 slot at 11 a.m. Oklahoma State, Arizona will be the TNT game on October 4th, a 2 p.m. kickoff in Tucson. Texas Tech at Houston gets big ESPN at 6 o'clock. Colorado at TCU, 6:30 p.m. kick on Big Fox. Again, both K-State and KU kick at 11 a.m. this coming Saturday. K-State at home against UCF, KU at home against Cincinnati. I believe, and I'm going to have to double check this, but I believe K-State is on FS1 and KU is on TNT. That's right. Yeah, TNT. So there you have it. Those are the Saturday, October 4th games. There's also sad news in the Big 12 today. Awful from the Big 12 today. The offensive line coach for UCF, Sean Clark, has passed away at the age of 50. Suffered a medical emergency about 13 days ago, and it was very unexpected medical emergency, and he never did recover and died today at the age of 50. Prior to becoming the offensive line coach at UCF, Sean Clark had been the head coach at Appalachian State from 2020 to 2024.
He was 40 and 24 as a head coach, and he was 3-1 in bowl games.
Yeah, had a good run.
Yeah, he just had a tough last few years there. So he has the option actually to join the Marshall staff. He's a West Virginia guy, and I think if I remember correctly, he might have everything was gonna happen, and then he got offered this, and they said, "No, you go take that. You do what you can to rehab your coaching career. We were just offering this to you because we know you're a good coach, and you're from the state. So we want to do that." But he ended up going to UCF, obviously, and just that tragic news.
Awful.
Great coach.
Great offensive line coach. Even better person. Everything I have read suggests that this is one of the most well-liked guys in the entire coaching profession. I have a friend who has done sports talk radio in the state of North Carolina for the last decade. And he says, the nicest coach I've ever met. So it is obviously a huge loss for the UCF football program as they prepare to make the trip and play K-State this Saturday, but a loss to the entire coaching fraternity. And our thoughts and our prayers are with the family of Sean Clark and all of those who loved him. No easy segue from a story like that. Continuing with our college football headlines, the AP Top 25 came out yesterday. There is no change at the very top, with Ohio State remaining the number 1 team in the country. Miami moved up 2 spots to number 2 after their win over Florida. Penn State dropping a spot. Apparently, they didn't look very good against their bye week, and they fell a spot to number 3. LSU and Georgia rounding out the top 5. Oregon and Oklahoma each received a first-place vote this week. They're 6 and 7, respectively, followed by Florida State, Texas A&M, and Texas, down 2 spots to number 10. Indiana, big upward riser this week after they walked a mud hole in Illinois. I'll tell you what, nobody will beat the stuffing out of you to make a point, quite like a Kurt Signetti team. Yeah. He doesn't just want to win. He wants to. He's one of those coaches where I went for 2 because I couldn't go for 3. That's Kurt Signetti. He wants to rub your nose in it. And Indiana rubbed Burt Bielema's nose in it on Saturday. Their backups were running for long touchdowns. It was a beatdown. Indiana up 8 spots, number 11. Texas Tech up 5 spots, number 12. They are the highest-ranked Big 12 team this week. Ole Miss, Iowa State, Tennessee round out the top 15. Again, Iowa State must have had a rough week of practice because they dropped 2 spots to number 14 in the poll despite being idle. Georgia Tech, number 16, Alabama, 17, then Vanderbilt, Michigan, and Mizzou rounding out the top 20. 21 through 25, USC, Notre Dame, Illinois, who dropped 14 spots after that blowout loss to the Hoosiers. And then 2 Big 12 teams into the poll this week, TCU at number 24 and BYU at number 25. One last college football story, this one breaking since we've been on the air. The ACC has announced that they will align with the rest of the Power 4 leagues and move to a 9-game conference schedule, with all league teams required to play 10 games a season against Power 4 competition. That will begin in 2026. Here's a problem. The ACC has 17 teams. So not everybody can play 9 league games. So you're going to have teams in the ACC that play fewer league games than everyone else. At least until things realign again when the TV contracts get rewritten in 2031. But
why would you do that then?
Because everybody else is going to 9 games. Everybody else is going to 9 games. The solution that I think that the ACC will probably try to work out in some form or fashion. Remember when in the COVID year, Notre Dame basically joined the conference?
Yeah.
I don't think Notre Dame's going to join the ACC, but I do think the ACC is going to allow teams to count Notre Dame as a conference game. Which that is total speculation.
Yeah.
But I think it's the only way to make it fair, right? You can't have 2 teams play 8 conference games and everybody else plays 9. It's nonsense. But you also, in this era of college football, the SEC's going to 9. The SEC got a TV show out of announcing who the locked-in opponent for their team was going to be. That's how big a deal the SEC is.
Well, so what your speculation, it would work in 2027 for Georgia Georgia Tech as it currently sits. They're in 2027 slated to be at Notre Dame on October 2nd of 2027. So
yeah, maybe that year they only play 8 conference games. You count the Notre Dame game. I don't know. There's not a good answer here. But if the SEC's going to 9 league games and the Big Ten's already there and the Big 12's already there, then you've got to be on a level playing field with the rest of the Power 4 if you are looking for the same sort of consideration when it comes to getting teams in the college football playoff. So I understand why. What I don't understand are the logistics of it and how they're going to make that happen. But in fact, according to a source, this is per Andrea Adelson of ESPN. It will only be one team that plays 8 conference games. And what do you do? Do you make it like a team that nobody expects to be good? Do you just say, hey, Duke, you're playing 8. Hey, Stanford, you're only playing 8. Hey, Cal, but everybody else that we expect to be a serious contender for a playoff spot, we're making damn sure you're playing 9. So that is all the college football news that is fit to discuss on the program today. I told you there was a lot of it. Let's move on our 580 Sports Talk headlines. Spencer,
do you have a direction?
Let's do college basketball.
That's what I was thinking.
That's a college basketball schedule.
All right, John Rothstein coming in with the heater here. The first full day of Big 12 conference games for the 25-26 season is set for Saturday, October 3rd. The matchups in
January 3rd.
Or January, sorry. Saturday, January 3rd, matchups include Kansas at UCF.
It's so funny that Kansas plays at UCF early every single year.
Yeah.
It's a very, very funny bit. Anyhow.
BYU at Kansas State, Colorado at Arizona State, Houston at Cincinnati, Baylor at TCU, Oklahoma State at Texas Tech, and Arizona at Utah.
So, obviously, BYU Kansas State has some intrigue to it. AJ Divansa, who Kansas State wanted very much. BYU wrote a bigger check, so Divansa's at BYU. Comes to the Octagon for the first conference game of the season. Houston-Cincinnati has a chance to be really good, although I don't know what kind of team Cincinnati is going to run out there this year. You probably missed it, but they kicked Jizzle James off the team. Edgerrin James'
I did see that.
Yeah, they kicked him off the team this summer, so that's not great. Baylor, TCU could be good. Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, yuck. Arizona, Utah, yuck. Colorado, Arizona State. That game should be on ESPN minus. Please do not show that game to anyone. Those are probably going to be the 2 worst teams in the conference in 2026. So, but yeah, that's where Kansas will open on the road in conference play at UCF, and K-State will open conference play at home against BYU.
Other big college basketball news today. I can't say I'm shocked because I feel like I've heard these rumors for the last 6 months that something was going to happen, but Bruce Pearl has announced his retirement and resigned as head coach of Auburn. His son Steven is set to become the new head coach. Here we are, a month and change from the start of the college basketball season.
Yeah, and
that's the second year in a row.
Yeah, this is about when Tony Bennett decided to walk away last year. And part of the reason you do that is because it gives you leverage on choosing your successor, right?
Yeah.
And Bruce Pearl had even more skin in the game on that front because his successor is his kid.
Yep.
I don't know why Auburn felt it necessary to give him a 5-year contract right out of the gate. Stephen Pearl has coached as many college basketball games as a head coach as you and me combined, Spencer, which is 0. So obviously big shoes to fill. Maybe he's great at it. I don't know.
Maybe
sometimes the Nepo baby is actually good at their stuff too.
Joe Buck.
Yeah, Joe Buck's a good announcer. Bob Dylan's kid wrote one headlight. There's sometimes you do pass the talent down, and you don't just you're not just there because of your last name. But very surprising development. Gave rise to a lot of snarky comments about Bruce Pearl maybe having his eye on a run for public office. Perhaps maybe you follow or are familiar with Bruce Pearl's work on the social media app X. He's got some opinions.
Yes, he does.
I'm not going to comment on the nature of those opinions, but he's got them, and he's not shy about them. And that will, yes, certainly. I don't know where he goes from here. Maybe straight to Congress. I don't know. But yeah, Bruce Pearl out at Auburn.
I mean, we at least know he's good at public speaking if he becomes a politician.
He's done the broadcasting thing effectively.
Yeah.
The thing, too, is that, like, Auburn is not a traditional basketball power, right? Like, we can acknowledge that Auburn basketball before Bruce Pearl was just kind of a whatever program. And in Bruce Pearl's tenure, they went to the tournament 6 times. They went to the Final Four twice. They were a number 1 seed in the tournament. They were ranked number 1 in the AP poll on 2 separate occasions. Do you know how many times, you know how far back you have to go for the previous 6 NCAA tournament appearances? You have to go back from 1986 to the start of Bruce Pearl's tenure in 2014. They made the tournament 6 times in that stretch. And yeah, he got him there 6 times. So obviously the thing's cooking, and Auburn hopes that son can follow in father's footsteps. Let's get to some more stuff here. Let's just go kind of rapid fire. It was a bad week for NFL injuries. James Conner, Najee Harris, Nick Bosa, all out for the season. Adjust your fantasy lineups accordingly. In the case of Conner, who was the starting running back for the Arizona Cardinals, Achilles injury, out for the year.
Who was your running back?
Yeah, I guess he is, isn't he? League. Yeah, I guess he was. Yeah, I had between him and CeeDee Lamb getting hurt. That was a bye week for, was it you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's why I brought it up.
Okay. Yeah. Tough week for the fantasy, for that fantasy team. I got a chance in my other league. I just need Lamar to go ballistic.
Yeah.
James Conner out for the year. Najee Harris, Achilles injury, out for the season in Los Angeles with the Chargers. Nick Bosa, torn ACL, out for the season as the 49ers injury woes continue. That is a crushing blow. 49ers just can't keep everybody healthy. Like, I didn't get a chance to double back with Matt Verderam about this, and it would have come across as self-indulgent coming off a week where the Seahawks won and actually kind of looked good doing it. But the NFC West has a case right now for being the best division in football, and the 49ers might get left behind just because they run out of bodies. I guess the Rams are leading the division, I believe. The Cardinals have 2 wins. The Seahawks have 2 wins, and the 49ers have 2 wins. Everybody's sitting on 2 wins in that league. So
and there's Thursday night football this week.
Cardinals Seahawks.
Seahawks. So I mean, even bigger.
Yeah. So that's big loss, no question, for the 49ers. Second time in his career he's had a torn ACL in his season. Speaking of torn ACLs, we don't do a ton of NBA, but Fred VanVleet's got a lot of fans in this state from his time at Wichita State, and he has suffered a torn ACL while working out in preparation for the 2025-26 season. That is a big blow to a Houston Rockets team that many believe is the most direct competition to the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder in the Western Conference. The torn ACL for VanVleet, the starting point guard for the Rockets, may keep him out for the entirety of the 2025-26 season. And one other thing to get to before we take a timeout, Ryan Blaney wins at New Hampshire on the weekend to open the second round of the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Big race for the Fords. Fords were kicking butt in New Hampshire, in Loudon, New Hampshire over the weekend. Ryan Blaney takes the checkered flag. When we come back, is Jawan Taylor good? Of course he's not. But could he be if he'd quit being such a bozo? The answer to that may surprise you. Coming up next on 580 Sports Talk. 5:33 on 580 Sports Talk. Earlier in the hour, I promised you a graph, a visual aid, if you will. So if you're able and would like to see what it is that I am talking about, you can get over to the YouTube live stream on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. You can also watch us on Facebook at WIBW News. I'll talk you through it, of course. This is theater of the mind, after all. Radio is where we butter our bread, so I will describe it rather than, leaving it to the visual accompaniment. But if you'd like to see what we're talking about, sometimes, we'll throw up a picture on what is wrong with you. We'll throw up a graph or a stat that really benefits from just being seen. So I'll give you a moment to pull up the YouTube stream, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube if you haven't yet. Hit that subscribe button when you're over there. You can also check us again on Facebook, WIBW News. So last night, Spencer, we didn't really get a chance to weigh in together on the Chiefs win last night. I actually thought the Chiefs offensive line against that Giants defensive line more than held their own. It wasn't a perfect night by any means, but I thought they played pretty well. Josh Simmons had the one early penalty, but was solid outside of that. We didn't really hear Kingsley Sumataia's name, which is fine.
Always great.
Yes.
When you don't hear an offensive lineman's name,
yes.
That means they're doing a good job.
That's exactly right. Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith didn't hear their names either. That's pretty typical. So the interior line, I thought, did fine. Dexter Lawrence didn't have much of an impact on the game. The Giants were slowed when Brian Burns went out. That was a gnarly-looking play when Burns got hurt. I was surprised he got up and walked off the field.
He came back, though. He wasn't really effective.
Yeah, but I was surprised he got up. Like, the way he landed, it looked so bad.
The movement,
it looked awful. But
they have I said this last week on the show, between Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns,
Thibodeau, Carter, like, they've got guys. Like, that is as
they've got guys that can rush the passer.
Yeah, that's as good a defensive line group as there is in football, frankly. And the Chiefs, I thought, more than held their own, especially in the second half. They got better as the game went along. Juwan Taylor committed another pre-snap penalty. I think it wiped out a pretty good play for the Chiefs, actually, where he was lined up inappropriately. And he continues to be among the most penalized players in the league. I think the most penalized offensive lineman in the league. It's either him or the guy who didn't play for the Giants last night, Hudson, who got those 4 straight penalties in the game the week before. Anyway, and it's been the same problems for Juwan Taylor for the balance of his time with the Chiefs. As Mark B asks in the YouTube comments, what if that's just baked in? What if that's just who Juwan Taylor is? He's just the guy that makes the mistake, that commits the penalty. That might be true. That might. When he's not committing penalties, he's actually playing really well. So here's what the graph is going to show. The graph shows how often a tackle is left one-on-one with their blocking assignment. So there's no chip help. There's no chip help from a tight end or a running back, and there's no inside help coming from a guard. This is one-on-one. This is the edge rusher against the offensive tackle. How often do teams leave their tackles on an island? The Chiefs, as it turns out, do it a lot. And then the y-axis on the graphic is how good are they? How often are they winning their matchup when they are on an island? How often are they winning one-on-one? So here's the graph. And the first thing that will jump out is, so bottom left is bad, right? Bottom left is bad. Bottom left means they don't trust you to stay on an island, and also you're bad at blocking. There's a name that is obscured there for the Cleveland Browns. I didn't do this on purpose, but that is former Kansas State Wildcat KT Leviston. Yikes, man. Oh, my. I can't believe he's in the NFL. Like, I watched him in college. I can't believe. I'm glad he's in the NFL. Good for him. Get those checks. It's bad. Your boy, rookie Josh Connerly, they don't trust him in Washington, and you can see why.
He was a little bit better yesterday. I will say he's getting better.
The lower on the graph you are on the y-axis, the worse you are at winning your one-on-ones.
And then look at their left tackle to their right tackle.
Yeah, like Laramie Tunsil, the left tackle for Washington, he is at the top of the list. When it comes to how often are you winning on an island, nobody is winning more than Laramie Tunsil. So he's at the very top of the y-axis. Far right on the x-axis means they really trust you and they're going to put you on an island. Your team is not going to give you any help. You're going to take on your guy one-on-one. So if you are in the top right on this graphic, if you are in the top right on the graph, that means A, your team trusts you to be in one-on-one situations, and B, you're winning them at a really high rate. The top right corner of this graph has 4 players at the very top right, essentially. 4 guys in the top right. The Chargers, Joe Alt, both tackles for the Eagles, Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata, and Josh Simmons. However excited you are about Josh Simmons through 3 games, it's not excited enough.
Clearly.
He is playing like an elite, top of the charts NFL left tackle. The Chiefs trust him to win his assignment one-on-one, and he is winning his assignment one-on-one. Now, whether or not like the x-axis here, like it's a small sample size as to how often you're getting help, and sometimes it depends on who your matchup is, right? Like sometimes you're not going to help you if you're facing a jabroni, but you might need some help against like Myles Garrett, right? Or you might need some help against Joey Bosa. So that is, part of the calculation here. But also up in the top right, you've got Braden Smith for the Colts, been a very good player. Deion Dawkins has been a Pro Bowler for the Bills. Garrett Bowles has been a Pro Bowler for the Broncos. Colton Miller, very good player for the Raiders. These are guys who are winning their one-on-one. Their pass block win rate on an island is up over 90%. 9 out of 10 reps. You're one-on-one, you're winning the rep. Guys, Jawan Taylor's up there. Jawan Taylor is winning over 90% of his one-on-one pass rush reps. And so what I think this does not absolve Jawan Taylor of his sins. This does not say, well, actually, Jawan Taylor's fine. We can live with the penalties. We can't live with the penalties. It's too many. You can have one, but when it's multiple penalties every game, that's a big problem. And it is why people are frustrated with Jawan Taylor, and they are fairly frustrated with Jawan Taylor. So I get it. But here is the evidence as to why perhaps, and I'm not privy to any inside thinking here, but this would tell me why we haven't seen Jalen Moore yet. That because Jawan Taylor has been so good on an island, and they trust him to be on an island one-on-one, he's going to stay out there and try to work through his penalty issues, which, again, we're in year 3. If he was going to work through them, you'd like to think it would have started by now, but the ability to win a matchup, to win a rep, is there for Jawan Taylor. If he would just, for goodness sakes, stop committing the drive-killing penalties. Because it's not just, like, sometimes you false start. Like, Trey Smith commit a false start here and there. Trey Smith commit a penalty here and there. Trey Smith performs at a really high level, and it is just here and there. So you forgive a Trey Smith penalty. You're like, dang, man, he's our best guy, a bad play. Oh, well, he'll be better next drive. Jawan Taylor doesn't have that kind of benefit of the doubt. But through 3 weeks, he's done his assignment at an elite level other than the penalties, which for an offensive lineman is a bit like asking Miss Lincoln how you like to play. But that is the graph. And again, like, I understand this doesn't match the eye test for a lot of people. We got a text from 785 said it looked like Taylor was getting beat one-on-one last night, destroyed one-on-one. There were some, and we talked about this with Kingsley through the first 2 weeks of the season. His losses are loud losses, right? Like when he gets beat, you notice, because the impact of him getting beat one-on-one usually blows up a play. Like last night, when he did get beat one-on-one by Kayvon Thibodeau, it blew up a play.
Yeah.
But when you don't get beat, nobody notices anything, right? So it's the story of an offensive lineman. You never notice the positive stuff. All you ever notice is the negatives. And Jawan Taylor's negatives are really, really loud. But I think what this shows is enough positive that it explains why the Chiefs haven't gone to the Oak yet for Jalen Moore.
Yeah.
Do I still think they should give it a shot? Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I do. But this is as much of an explanation as I am able to offer as to why that hasn't happened yet. This is not an endorsement. This is just evidence. That's all it is. That's all it is. Another one from the 785. I'm pretty sure I saw Taylor on his back one-on-one in the first half last night. Yeah, Kayvon Thibodeau does that to folks. he does. He gave as good as he got last night. There's no question. Like I said, like the reps that he lost stood out last night because they were impactful. They were resounding. But he's done enough winning one-on-one that I think the Chiefs are hopeful that he can work through the penalties. But again, we're in year 3. If it was going to happen, by now. One other play I want to point to last night as sort of a final thought on the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes threw the football backwards twice in the first half.
Yeah.
Like, what? You just don't see him do that. Bad plays both times. The second time, it looked like Isaiah Pacheco was running a curl route toward his own end zone, which was like backwards.
There's a screen grab where he is literally running backwards.
He's running the wrong way. He looked like Jim Marshall.
Yeah.
Like, what is he doing? Bad play. And it very nearly turned into a disaster because it was a fumble and then a backward pass, not caught. And Isaiah Pacheco just kind of watches it for a second because he's just completely out of tune on the play. And it looks for all the world like somebody on the Giants, Bobby Okereke is the closest guy to the ball, is going to scoop it and score it, and the Giants are going to take the lead. And I'm thinking as I'm watching it, good, the Giants deserve to be leading this game. The Chiefs are playing like ass. Like, it would have been the least the Chiefs deserved at that point in the game. But Okereke doesn't recover the ball. Patrick Mahomes recovers the ball. Patrick Mahomes goes and basically takes it out of Okereke's arms to the point where I was a little surprised watching it live that they didn't rule that it had been a double possession.
Yeah.
That Okereke had actually had possession of the ball and that Mahomes had just taken it away from him.
I wonder if that's something that gets looked at this week and then they come out and say, we were wrong. It should have been a first down. There was clear possession and then switch possession again. You got to wonder.
I do.
Because they do that. The NFL will do that on Tuesday or Wednesday of every week. They'll come out and be like, we missed this call. This should have been called this way. This should have been called this way.
But the broader point that it makes is in line with what we've seen the first 2 weeks. I think Patrick Mahomes is keenly aware that this is not, at present, a football team that is capable of meeting a championship standard. And if he's got to be the guy to run through somebody, to scramble and be the leading rusher, to go and recover his own fumble, to go clean up his own mess, Patrick Mahomes is going to do that in week 3. And it sets such a tone for the team, but I also think it shows a little bit of desperation on Mahomes' part. You can read that in one of two ways. Number one, you can read that as Mahomes is just such a competitor that he will not abide getting beat on something like that. He's not going to abide early season losses. He's going to compete. He's going to leave it all out there on the field. The other way you can read it, maybe the less charitable way, but there may be some truth here too, is that he senses that this team is not to the championship standard of teams in recent memory, and that to get it there, he's going to have to do even more. And maybe even more means recovering his own fumbles when Isaiah Pacheco forgets which direction to run on a swing route. But that was an incredible play. Honestly, a game-saving play. To be honest, I don't know how the Chiefs would have recovered from that because they would have gone behind if Okereke scoops and scores. But it was a game-saving play by Mahomes. It was awesome. Anyway, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back with some more here on 580 Sports Talk. The officiating of the tush push did not appear to get fixed in week 3 of the NFL.
No.
Multiple gripes about it. Andrew in the YouTube comments said at least 3 false starts. Had a text about it from the 785 as well. The Eagles came back and won that game. I was talking about this with Matt Verderam in the 3 o'clock hour. The Eagles feel like the 2024 Chiefs. Like, doesn't feel like they're great, but they are sure finding ways to win and winning a bunch of one-score games.
They shouldn't have won that game, but they did.
Yeah.
Just like we said about the Chiefs multiple times.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's a whiff of 2024 Chiefs with the 2025 Eagles so far in this season. One thing that stood out to you from week 3 of the NFL.
Michael Penix, man. Dookie.
They fired their receivers coach, like within the hour. They just fired their receivers coach, Ike Hilliard. Maybe it's their fault.
I don't know, but how can you go back to Kirk Cousins? Like,
if he's bad, how can you not go back to Kirk Cousins? You're paying him all that money.
Also, a lot of blocked field goals this weekend.
Yeah, and 1 week after the kickers are too good, I guess here's how you equalize it. You block a bunch of kicks. That was 3 of them.
Conspiracy theory. The NFL is rigged.
Yeah. Hey, listen. That's you probably find that on a Facebook AI slop website near you.
Reddit too.
My big takeaway from week 3 of the NFL is that Shane Steichen is a miracle worker because he's got Daniel Jones out there putting up MVP numbers. And the Colts are killing teams. And I know they've played nobody good, and I include the Broncos. I think the Broncos aren't good. Like, Bo Nix is not getting any better than he is right this second. It's never going to happen. There is no next level for Bo Nix. I've been saying it since he was drafted. This is who he is. It's better than I thought, but this is who he is. He's not. There's no next level for Bo Nix. So the Colts have been beating tomato cans, but they've been stomping them, and Daniel Jones is playing great. So yeah, a lot of credit to the Colts. They look like I think they should be considered the clear front runner in that AFC South.
I've got 2 comments on my Commanders. One, Dan Quinn is one beep and bleep. Bad bleep and bleep, I should say. Did you see what happened?
Yeah, he got trucked by his own guy.
Yeah, Marcus Mariota. Also, second thing, Marcus Mariota, if Cliff Kingsbury takes a head coaching job next year, I think he's going to bring Marcus Mariota with him to be their like bridge quarterback.
There's you could do worse
because that guy still's got it.
I always thought Mariota was going to have a better career than he did. Yeah. I think he could do a lot worse as a backup quarterback. You got Commander's thoughts in. I'll just give this quick Seahawks thought. I obviously delighted to see them with a routine win, a dominant win at home for a change. I think they were 3-7 at home under Mike McDonald before yesterday's game against the Saints. That game had more to do with the Saints being just a dumpster fire, especially on special teams. Like their 95-yard punt return for a touchdown where Torrey Horton wasn't touched, and then a block punt. Like the Saints special teams are a dumpster fire. I don't think that the Seahawks are suddenly awesome. I still have my doubts. I know Darnold put up crazy numbers. Neat. I still think that's more about the Saints. I think the Saints, for me, I think the Saints and the Dolphins are the 2 worst teams in the NFL through 3 weeks. I think those are the worst teams.
Also, one more thing for me. No more Deebo Samuel slander is allowed. He opened the game with a 69-yard kickoff return, and he had 2 for 93 total.
It's a lot of season left. We'll see if those old legs hold up. We'll take a timeout. I have a Royals thought for the final word. That's coming up next. Make it a quick one. We've only got a minute. Final words. Mr. Dupuis.
Last night you on our quick instant reaction last night, you made a comment about Travis Kelce riled up on the sidelines going after Andy Reid. Andy Reid said at halftime of the game, going into the locker room, that he's trying to rile up his own players, and he's the guy that initiated that, I believe. So shout out to Andy Reid for trying to use yelling at his players to get them motivated.
Yeah, and maybe taking a bullet there for Travis Kelce. Final word for me, the Royals' tragic number is down to just 1. They had a good weekend, taking 2 out of 3 from Toronto. They are an exactly 500 team with a run differential of +1. They are the most 500 team that there is in baseball. And the thing that makes it really difficult is that the Tigers are trying to give the AL Central away, and a Guardians team I still refuse to believe is better than the Royals might steal it from him. The Guardians are Jose Ramirez and 8 plumbers in the lineup every day, and they might steal the AL Central. Makes the Royals season so frustrating. Chiefs Kingdom is next, followed by Monday Night Football. We're back tomorrow from 3 until 6. For Brendan and Spencer, I'm Dan. This was 580 Sports Talk. Good night.